pass the ball. No, I'm joking, I wrote a new speech. Class of 2022, you absolute legends. Boys, it's been an incredible 10 years with you, and I wouldn't do it at any other school with any other peers. Starting back in 2013, as a grade 3, I entered Mrs. Gandy's class knowing no one. I was quickly swept up in the constant activity and immediately fell in love with Clifton. Under-9 rugby with Walrus and Big Mr. Brown as our coaches was for sure the highlights of my year, winning all but one of our games. I blame the ref. The downside to grade 3 was number sense 4, where I simply could not grasp the idea of subtraction. I was quick to make friends with the boys in my grade, and my time in the prep school couldn't have gotten off to a better start. Grade 4 in Mrs. Simon's class, that's 2 Mrs. Simons. First semester was Josh's gran, and then second semester was his mom. With big features such as Mr. Buckthorpe and Mr. Baker, Monty, Fridge, Bench and I were an unstoppable force on the playing field. Grade 5 with Mr. Kemp, where almost every day there was an excuse for movies. Movie Monday, Time for Entertainment Tuesday, When's the Movie Wednesday, Theatre Thursday and Flick Friday. How could I forget our infamous smoke breaks, where 5 minutes was taken from a lesson to go play on the field. Grade 5 by far had the greatest academic syllabus. Grade 6 was the time to start buckling down this whole science thing with Mrs. Schlemmer. Learning the first 20 elements of the periodic table using a song seemed like an almost impossible task. Best believe the academics that were 6S got it locked down. Grade 7 with Mr. Brown's return to Clifton was nothing short of miraculous. From history lessons with Mr. Ravenscroft with the lights off, because it's better for learning, to rugby tours in Johannesburg telling scary stories with Mr. Biernecker. Special mention has to be made of Mr. Null, who one day dropped out of a South African National Defence Force helicopter on a road. No one knows why it happened, it just did. Prep school was a time of fun and learning the basics. A type 1 had been formed between all of the grade 7 class of 2017, and we were all set up perfectly for our college experience. While grade 8 started, and all of a sudden there were 70 extra kids, most of which we'd never met. It felt so strange being nearly 100 meters away from our old classrooms, yet feeling like we were in a completely new world. Everything was terrifying, from the massive matrics to the scary staff who never seemed to enjoy my jokes. We spent a solid 2 terms learning only about density in science. What a grand experience with the comedic genius that was Mr. Douglas. Grade 9 felt like a blur and was over in what seemed like seconds. We were no longer the smallest kids in the school, and that was the biggest relief. Time to choose our subjects and become seniors in the school. Grade 10. From online school to hybrid to massive screens sitting on our desks, we were faced with the challenge of self-control. It was far too easy to join a lesson, mute your mic, and head straight back to bed. Grade 11, the time to start leading. The excitement of prefect applications and interviews struck the grade, and everyone wanted that discipline portfolio. Can you just imagine how cool it would be to walk around school and hand out detentions like business cards? Grade 12 has ended almost as soon as it started. The workload has been insane, and we felt nothing short of tired. However, life is not a guided tour on a luxury bus, as Mr. Knowles always reminded us. We buckled down and got the work done, and here we are today. A group of roughly 100 brothers standing on Founder's Lawn, waiting to ring the bell. To the prefect body of 2022, thank you. You've made my role incredibly easy, and I will forever cherish our Thursday meetings where we always seem to discuss how you could never remember your detention duties. Sean flat out refused to take detention duties and instead decided to grace Cameron, Maya and myself with his presence every single Monday morning at the gate, telling us his latest drama from over the weekend. Monday morning was never dull with Sean around. Mika never failed to ring that bell on time. Sajil ensured everyone knew what their duties were for the following weeks. Rees nailed the matric portfolio and succeeded in creating the greatest matric dance after party where world-class DJs such as Bolter and Zoya performed. Great tracks. Orion's efforts in the cultural portfolio were outstanding, and he forever made sure the Film Academy knew they had a meeting. Abay, as head of house, was, to me, the head of academics, where I could ask him any question on math and science, and he'd whip out the correct answer in a matter of seconds. Bench running the grade 8s and 9s alongside J-Raj ensured that the juniors were always in line. James Bull Bentley, the largest specimen to ever don the discipline portfolio, ran it with control. No one messed around when the bull was on the hunt. Travis sat at the back of all the prefect meetings with his lunch on his desk. I'm not quite sure what his role was, but I'm sure he nailed it. Fridge heading up Howard House was an incredible success story that I will never forget the inter-house polo where myself and Joel carried the Blues to victory over the Reds. Legendary day. Monty with the sports portfolio was the perfect choice. He could play his first team sport for anything that he wanted and was the perfect candidate to plan out the sports compulsories. Ethan's quiet demeanour in the prefect meetings could only be attributed to him focusing on the weekend's fixtures and how he could lead the first 15 to victory yet again. Luanda's passion for Warcry was electric, and he succeeded in being the first Warcry leader to execute the spell at Riverside, which after many executive meetings seemed like it would be a daunting task. Mark, leading the community engagement portfolio, made sense with his love for all things nature, but after having seen him in the gym, I'm not so sure he's natural himself. Clifton James running grade 10 and 11. What a duo, need I say more. Ms. Dog was always the smiling face amongst the prefects. No matter what was being discussed, he always had the biggest grin on his face. Tim, being a head of house, led his lads so well to earning a mediocre amount of points. Well done, Tim. And who could forget Big Man Field, who seemed to be at school to do everything except school. You boys who don the silver badges have made my role a pleasure. Working with you all has been a smooth ride, and you succeeded in bringing the school back from the depths of the pandemic. To my brothers in white, Cameron and Maya, my right-hand men. When I couldn't attend an event, when I was under pressure, when I had forgotten something, when I couldn't finish a task on my own, you two came to the rescue. Serving with you two has been a dream. Being late to every English lesson on a Tuesday, lesson 6, was nothing short of an honour, and I wouldn't have done it with any other gentleman. Mr. Church, for your guidance this year, I am incredibly grateful. When I was struggling early on in the year, your calm words and wisdom were what I needed. This role was not simple, but your methodical explanations of my tasks made life easy. From the banter in the classrooms, to the vibrance of the walk around the side of the hockey and rugby fields, to the laughter in the Sutcliffe Theatre, we've had an incredible final year here. It couldn't have gone any better for us. I've loved every last second of it, and I wish it could go on forever. As I said last night, boys, you've made this year, too many tears now, probably. You've made this year so easy for myself and the rest of the prefects. Your awards last night were well deserved, and you can now turn all your attention to finals. I hope you've started revising. Most of my life has been spent walking amongst these white walls. 10 years with you lot seems way too short, and if I could do it again, I would most certainly would. This place we call home has shaped us and guided us as young men. It has shown us how to value self and embrace relationships. For all that it has done for us, we can no doubt honour school. And so, matrix, our time has finally come to ring the bell for the final time. I hope you can all look back on your memories at Clifton with great fondness as I do. Remember that the brothers standing next to you will be your Clifton family forever. H3 2022, signing out.